Today's workout will focus on upper body and core. It's a quick one. It's just going to take you about 13 minutes to finish, and it's broken up into 3 superset HIIT circuits. Each circuit is 6 rounds, 30 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. You'll alternate between 2 different exercises, doing each exercise a total of 3 times. Before each superset, I'll show you the 2 exercises, and I'm also going to show you ways to modify them so that this workout is suitable for all levels, whether you're just starting out, you're working with some injuries, or you're more on the advanced side. For this workout, all you will need is a weight. I'm using a 10-pound dumbbell. You could use a kettlebell, get creative with something from home. You also can do it without a weight. You can totally just do this body weight. Okay, so anyone else guilty of kind of avoiding the exercises you're bad at? So I hate push-ups. I don't know how many years I've been working out consistently now, and I still really struggle with them, and I have to take some accountability for myself. It's because I avoid them like the plague. So I am making a commitment to myself to work on them, to incorporate them into more of my workouts, to really push myself when they come up in group classes. And today's workout, we've got a few different variations so that I can do just that. As with all workouts, make sure to warm up beforehand. I have a 5-minute warm-up on my channel you could do, or just do one on your own, but make sure you don't go into this cold. Also, always listen to your body when you're working out. If anything does not feel right, stop. There's a difference between pushing yourself and hurting yourself. If you're new to my channel, with my workouts, I don't play music in the background because I want you to be able to listen to whatever songs you like. So if you don't have a playlist queued up, go open Spotify, iTunes, whatever it is. We're going to start with those plank jack push-ups. So from a high plank, you're going to lower down, hold that low push-up position, jack your feet out and in, drop your knees, and then press back up to the starting position. If you're advanced, don't drop your knees. Just press right back up, staying on your feet to the starting position. Core engagement's really important on this one. So as you lower down and do that jack, you need to be knitting your ribs together and pulling the belly button up in towards your spine. Make sure you're not pushing out through the stomach. You need to pull in, everything in tight. Last few seconds here, and rest. You have 10 seconds. Next up, we are going to go to that plank jump with a march. So once again, we'll be starting in a high plank. From here, jump your feet in, back, and then you're going to lower onto your forearms and power right back up to straight arms. When you do that march, make sure that you're alternating your lead arm. You're going to have a tendency to lead with your dominant side each time, and I don't want that. So just remember, it's left, right, and then the next time, right, left. Notice if your hips are rocking side to side as you do this, try to avoid that. So we need to squeeze in tight through the core, hips level. Last few seconds, see if you can get in one more rep. And rest. Okay, so first set done. We're doing that twice more, just alternating between those 2 exercises. So you know the drill, we're back with those push-up jacks. Now, if these are really challenging for you, like they definitely are for me, remember, you can modify by doing the jack at the top and then just giving me a modified push-up, as you'll see I'm doing here. 1 jack, knees down, 1 modified push-up. You can alternate between the 2. I'm going to go back to the full version, see if I can get one of those reps in. There we go, barely. And then you can always return to the modification. And rest, 10 seconds. We're going to go back to that marching plank jump. So find position, feet in, back, 1 march down, and up. Now we've got some jumping involved. We want to get the heart rate up. So see if you can pick up the pace. Feet are quick as they jump in and out. So don't hang out with your feet up by your hands. Light feet, toes tap up, right back out to your plank, down, down, up, up. A few more seconds here. Try to get in one more rep for me. and rest. Okay, so we just got to do those 2 exercises one more time, and then you're done with your first circuit. Let's do those push-ups. Again, you know how to modify. You'll notice I've been doing tricep push-ups where I keep my elbows in tight to the side of my body, kind of like in yoga. Don't worry, if you would rather do it with your elbows out a little wider, that version of a push-up is A-okay too. Last few seconds here, right till the end, and rest. Okay, we have one more 30-second push to go. It is going to be those marching plank jumps. Make your way to a high plank. If you need to modify these, you can always take out the jump. Just find a modified plank position on your knees and march up and down. Even if you're modifying though, really try to eliminate the rocking of the hips. So that's everyone's goal here. Level hips as you lower and lift. Keep pushing right till the end. You just have a few seconds to go. Try to get in one more rep. And you are done. Now, as you rest, I am going to show you the next 2 exercises. So as you saw, we are out of a plank and onto our back for this next set. We're going to start with those Russian twist sit-ups. So you extend the weight in your legs out to a hover, and then as you crunch up and bring the knees in towards your chest, you're going to bring the weight to the outside of your hip, and you're alternating side to side each time. Now, once you're in it, the goal is to never let the weight or your feet rest on the ground. So you're just extending out to a hover, and then it's right back up. You can totally do this without the weight. You would just ditch it and do the same motions weightless. Or again, that modification I showed you where you sit up and keep your feet on the floor. And rest 10 seconds. So put the weight away. The next exercise, we are just going to do scissor kicks, holding our feet at a hover off the ground. Now, as you do these, I want your shoulder blades off the ground as well. So we're maintaining a crunch, and we're also really hitting those low abs by having our legs extended like this. Now, as you tire, or at least as I tire, my low back starts to arch off the ground. As soon as I feel my stomach start to lift up towards the ceiling, I need to correct that by pulling up and in with the low abs and tilting my pelvic bone back to neutral. Last few seconds, and rest. Okay, set 1 done. We're doing that twice more. Find your weight if you are using it. Back to the Russian twist sit-ups. So for these, you want to keep a good pace. We're trying to get the heart rate up, but we never want to sacrifice form. Also with this one, if you build too much momentum on the way up, you'll notice that you rock too far forward and then your feet just land on the ground. We don't want that either. So think steady but controlled pace on these. Few more seconds to go. And rest. Okay, ditch the weight. Now there are lots of ways to modify these scissor kicks. First way to modify, and do this if you start to feel your back arching and your belly button lifting up towards the ceiling, is just to bring your legs up a little higher. So if your feet are just 6 inches off the floor, this is going to be really challenging. If you bring them up high like I just did, that's a good way to reset, get your pelvic bone back to neutral, and then lower the legs back down to that challenging hover. A few more seconds here. Make sure you're breathing. We don't want to hold our breath even though we're holding the position. And rest. All right, we got one more set to go. Find the weight if you are using it, and we'll go into those Russian twist sit-ups. So you want a deep twist when you do these. So as you crunch up and twist, really bring the weight all the way to the outside of the leg if mobility allows. Notice the height that your legs are hovering at when you extend them out. If you extend them out really low, so they're just 3 to 6 inches off the ground, that's going to be the most challenging. If you need to make it a little less intense, just extend your legs up at an angle. And rest, you can check that exercise off the list. We have one more round of those scissor kicks to go. So if you feel the need to modify, we talked about just lifting your legs up higher. Another way to modify would be to bend your knees. You could also take your hands out from behind your head and place them under your bum. That is a good way to support the low back if you're having issues there. Form is most important, so you'll notice I adjust a few times, several times actually. It's better to keep a good form during this than to sacrifice it just to maintain the position longer. And you are done with circuit number 2. I'm going to show you the next 2 exercises while you rest. Last 4 minutes of your workout coming up here. We're going to start with 10 mountain climbers and a push-up. For the mountain climbers, it's 5 sets, so 10 total, 5 to each side. And I want you to focus on speed when you do them. So you are driving those knees forward, run it out, 10 mountain climbers, and then you can slow it down and really focus on form for that push-up. If you need to modify the push-up, you can always drop to your knees before you do it. Last few seconds, run it out. How many more mountain climbers can you get in? Pick up the pace and rest. We're going to roll onto our backs. We're going to find the weight and we're going to go into leg lifts, adding in a toe touch. This is another one that you don't really need the weight for. If you don't have one, just use body weight. So keeping the weight over your chest, you are going to lower the legs down to a hover about 6 inches off the floor, lift them back up to point to the ceiling, and then you're going to crunch the weight up towards your toes. Now, if you need to modify this one, you could always bend the knees. Also, you could ditch the weight and you could keep your hands under your bum for support. If you have a history of low back issues, I would suggest you take that modification. 10 seconds to rest. First set done, we are doing that twice more. We'll start back at the top with those mountain climbers. All right, take off. 10 mountain climbers, really run it out quick as you can. Get that heart rate up. Stop. One good push-up. Don't sacrifice form. If you need to drop to your knees, do so. Always better to modify and keep your form looking good than to struggle from your feet and look like a wet noodle. Final few seconds here. And rest. So find your weight. If you are using one, we're going to lay on our backs again. And begin. So notice as your legs lower what's happening to your low back. If as the legs get towards the floor, your back is arching up towards the ceiling and peeling off the floor, then maybe don't bring your legs down as low or just focus on really pulling in tight through the abs. So think of there's something heavy on your belly button, pulling it down towards the floor. And rest. Final set coming up. Find your high plank position and take off with those mountain climbers. 10 as quick as you can. Stop. One good push-up. When you do the mountain climbers, make sure you're not piking your butt up to the ceiling. So notice my hips are staying right at shoulder height. If the push-ups get to be too much, again, you can modify from your knees as you just saw me do. Few more seconds here. Go right to the beat. Push, push, push. And rest. Final 30 seconds of your workout coming up. We're going to do those leg lifts. Before you do anything, bring your pelvic bone to neutral. So yes, there's a natural curvature to the low spine, but I don't want a big arch of the back off of the floor. Good. If you've been modifying with knees bent and you don't have any major back issues, maybe you challenge yourself in these last few seconds. You try to give me a rep or two with your legs straight as you lower them down to that hover and lift them back up. And done.